Hello, podcast family. Hope you guys are having a great day. I'm your host, Rocky Roark, and today I have an amazing guest, Mike Jones, a spectacular designer extraordinaire and the creator of Creative South, one of my favorite conferences to go to. You may have heard me talk about it in the last few episodes. He is an amazing human being, and he is here today to talk to us about design, Creative South, and a whole lot more. Was it 1 or 2 years that Creative South went on pause? 2 years.
2 years.
Do you want to talk about like the leading up, like when the pandemic started, like what was going on?
I just remember like the news was going nuts. You know, you started seeing like the crazy, like it felt like we were in a movie. You'd see the maps with the red and it starts to spread everywhere. And you're like, okay, this is not like one of those things that's just overseas and that we might hear about it. This is like happening to everyone. And this is for real. We need to take it seriously. And I think it was probably not as taken as serious as the rest of the country, just because of, I don't know. I don't even know how to say it, but
we're in the South. People can make assumptions.
I'm just saying, like, yeah, you know, I mean, like we could get into all that, but we're not. But what I'm saying is, I think we were about 2 weeks out. It was either 2 or 3 weeks out. And everybody's, you know, you're hearing the whispers, the cities are going to shut down. This is going to shut down. Everybody's at home. And even like the company I was at was saying, hey, you know, you guys are going to go home for a few days and then we'll come back next week. And then like, you know, that never happened. You know, we're at home for months. And I just remember, I think we were about 2 or 3 weeks out. And I was on the phone with Peter and Andrew, and I was like, all right, we need to decide what we're going to do, because like everything is in place. Like swag is swag had been shipped to my house. Bags were ready. Like everything is ready to go. It's like we're in like a last little bit of ticket sales, and then it's crunch time, and everything's paid for, right? Food, drink, vendors, everything is covered. And we just knew that it was not going to happen. Like it was just like, guys, like this just does not feel like it's going to go like something's about to happen with the city or something. But so we decided like that night on the phone, it was like, all right, we're going to send out a video and say, hey, we're postponing, we'll carry tickets over and we'll make it right. But and just be transparent about it. Here's why we're doing it. Here's why. Yeah. We're doing all these things to make sure that it happens when it can happen and it's safe for everyone. And then the very next day, Columbus shut down. The city was like, everything's closed. Like if you have something going on, it's canceled. Blah. And it was like, all right, cool. We made the right decision that it was not going to do what it was supposed to do. So we got ahead of that, and it ended up working out. I mean, the community was very gracious to me, and I didn't have anybody calling me up, cussing me out, demanding anything. Everybody's just like, you know what? We're all going through it. We're going to go through it together. And when we get out of this, we're going to meet back up, and we're going to get that fellowship started back up when we can. And it went into the second year coming up, and we're like debating, okay, it's, you know, there's just too many people still wearing masks. There's too much, you're still seeing it in the news. There's too many deaths going on. There's all this stuff. And we just felt led again to say, hey, you know what? We're rolling it over again. Just stick with us. It'll be back when it's supposed to be. But everything is still a go. Yeah. All my vendors were still chill. Everybody was still good to show up. Nobody was like, it was just still. Like, it just felt very still. It's like, hey, we got a 2-year gap to rest, because planning a conference is a lot of work. We start in August and we get done when the event happens, and we have a little bit of a break and start all over again. And it takes that many months to try to get all these ducks in a row. And to have 2 years off was kind of like, okay, we're going to rest up. We're going to all get recharged from going and going and going for the last 10 years. And let's settle. And then when we come back, we'll do what we got to do. And so when we did finally come back after the pandemic, it was different. It was a little different. You know, people weren't that, you know, we gave people the option with colored bands to let us know their comfort level of being interactive with other human beings. And so for me, like
Yeah.
I'm, different folks are going to call you out for different things. Like I know where I stood, and I wasn't going to change that, because at the end of the day, hugging on people is just what I'm called to do, And
Yeah.
so, but I wasn't going to, I didn't want to infringe on people's, like, what their level of comfort was. So like if you had a red band, it's like, hey, I'm not hugging, I'm not doing none of that. I'm
Hmm.
just hey, how's it going? And you respected it. If you had a yellow one, it was like elbow bump, a little fist bump action. And if it was green, you're getting that hug. Like that's all there was
Yeah.
to it. And so we did that for a little bit. 2 years, I think, after the pandemic, we kind of carried that through until it kind of started normalizing again, and people were, not doing a whole lot of masking up and interacting. And that happened a lot quicker in Georgia than it did in a lot of other places. But that's the way it went down. So we played it out like the city was playing it out. If there was certain
Yeah.
places you had to mask up, we did. And if there wasn't, we weren't going to make people do it. And so, and everybody has their opinion about that, but it is where it took us. And it was an interesting time in all of our lives. I mean, to live through a pandemic and to be able to talk about it,
Hmm.
still be around, is a blessing. And I also feel like, though, like still things have changed. Like we were on a huge upswing before the pandemic of everybody's on this conference wave, conferences are growing. And
Yep.
then post pandemic, it's not the same as it was. Like
Yeah.
everything's higher priced. Everything is, people just aren't wanting to travel as much, and you just got to roll with it. I still think a meeting in person is important. And until God takes this away and says, I want you to do something else, I'm going to keep putting it on and keep inviting people to come in and just be a part of a community and
Yeah.
have that fellowship and learn from each other. And I think it's important for your career. I think it's important for you as a person in any scenario to just be around other people face to face. So I
Yeah.
want to keep doing it. And, we came back after the pandemic, had 2 pretty decent years. I think we had 4 in the fours, or around the 450-ish the first time back. And then maybe like, it's right around 500 both times. Like it's either a little more or a little less. Like I can't keep track of the numbers right this second, but and that's kind of where we want to keep it. Like that's kind of where we're seeing the trend right now. So we'll see if we can meet those numbers again. And if it's lower, it's lower. If it's higher, it's higher. We want to welcome everybody and say, come on, hang out with us,
Yeah.
and get that recharge you need. And that's kind of where the pandemic took us. And I'm all right with that.
Yeah, I mean, I remember going back to when the pandemic was starting. I remember, I wasn't taking it seriously. I remember having conversations with people, and some people were talking about doing like the chicken pox parties, right? Where it's like, oh, someone finds out they have COVID, we should all get together and just get
No.
COVID, and then it'll be done.
That's
And I actually didn't know at the time. I got COVID before it like started really popping up, where people knew what it was,
I bet a bunch
to
of
the
people
point
did.
where, yeah, I still have issues from it to this day. I've had it, I think, 3 or 4 times, and everything. And luckily, for me, I got vaccinated and boosted and everything, so it wasn't nearly as bad as that first time. It was like
First
breathing
time was
glass.
awful.
Yeah.
Yeah. I had it twice.
Yeah, and I remember you calling me, actually. It was the day, either the day of that you posted the video or the day before, and you're like, "Hey, what are you thinking? Are you coming to Creative South?" And I had a particularly crazy situation, because my mom was going through chemotherapy at the time. She just was going to finish up her treatments, and the plan was I was going to fly out a week early, spend a whole week with her, go to Creative South, and then fly back. But because of all the stuff that was going on, and the fact that we couldn't even get our hands on masks where we were living in California. And so I was like, I had to make the decision. I was like, unfortunately, like, this is the year where I can't make it, which killed me, because I was like, I
You want a
love going to
record
Creative
streak,
South.
man.
I know. Like, I was like, I don't want to break this streak
Yeah.
and everything. And I told you, I was like, I have to make that personal decision that I can't go.
Yeah.
And I remember I think I might even said, I don't know if it's the best decision to keep it going with
you
everything.
did. And I think I was trying to gauge I was calling like all of my friends that live in different places to kind of gauge
Mm-hmm.
like what's the situation where you're at, right?
Yep.
Because that's going to tell me, are all the folks that normally fly into this not going to come regardless, even if it
Yeah.
happens, which is a good indicator of like where the country's going, and so it definitely helped with decision making on our end for leadership. It's like, all right, we need to just we need to shut it down and see what happens, and it was the right move, and it
Yeah.
you know I wouldn't trade it. Like I would trade it if we never had it happen. COVID was never a thing, but it was, and we, like I said, we're on the other side, and now it's just like let's rebuild it to where it's going to be.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever that ends up looking like is fine, as long as it's still the same um, a part about fostering the
Yeah.
relationships and the
Yeah.
that
And
whole
I
vibe that it
remember
usually is.
the first year it was back, I remember going there, and at the time, like, I was still wearing masks. I was still
Oh yeah,
masking up and everything. I
yeah,
was still, being very careful. But I remember pulling up in front of the Springer Opera House, showing up and everything. And I made a conscious decision. I was like, I can't do this. I can't wear a mask here. I can't, not, see people and smile at people and hug people. But I couldn't do that. And so, I remember sitting in the car and I had the mask in my hand and I was like, I can't do this. And I just put the mask down, got out of the
yeah,
car. And within seconds, someone was like, "Oh, hey, Rocky, it's great to see you," and everything. And all that. And I remember, I wore, I think, like 2 or 3 of the green bands because I was like, I'm still going to get hugs,
yeah. I
and
was giving
everything.
them out as much as people would take them.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. So, I think too, when thinking, seeing like how that first year and we've done what, 3 years since
this will be
pandemic or two?
the third year
Okay. So we've
after.
done 2 so far. I think like the biggest thing for me, because it did feel different. It felt very different because for one, we hadn't gone out and we hadn't done this
It
stuff
was
in 2
weird.
years.
It was
It
weird. It was
was
like
weird.
starting
It was
all
like,
over. Yeah,
yeah, I was like, okay, this feels like the first time at Creative South, which isn't a bad thing, but it felt weird because we hadn't been out.
I know.
And for me in particular, and I know a lot of other people have said this, Creative South is also where we recharge. We recharge our creativity,
Oh
we
yeah,
recharge, our mindsets, and it sets us up for the rest of the year. And so going into that, I hadn't been recharged in 2 years.
it was
So
nice.
it was like, it was a great feeling. But I think the reason why there's like this bit of a downturn, or this, I think the highest I ever heard was like 800 people at Creative South, and now you're saying 450. I think what it's just come down to is it has come down to people have been at home so much that
Oh
now
yeah,
it's like home is now really much more their comfort zone
yep.
versus going out or traveling, and everything. But my hope is that we continue to grow Creative South and that we have more
Same.
people and we get a lot of those veteran attendees coming back, and everything. And so I know that we have no idea what the future holds with Creative South. I just know that I'm going to go every single year as long as you guys are having it.
I'm gonna have it as long as he'll let me. So
Yeah.
it's just valuable to
Yep.
you, to me, to everyone that's there. And I've said it plenty of times on this call. Just come check it out. Come check
Yeah.
it out. See if it's for you. Tickets are on sale. We'd love to have you. We'd love for you to come see what it's all about and see for yourself that what we're saying is true.
Yeah.
I challenge people to do that. So, but yeah, man, I'm looking forward to it. We still have a lot of work to do. Fridays are my Creative South days, so I don't do client work on Fridays. I do Creative South work on Fridays, and for most of the day. And yeah, tomorrow's a packed day, so I gotta make a few updates to the lineups and add a few people, and then I gotta go by all the venues and go do insurance. Like people just don't understand how much these little things that add up into a laundry list of Oh man, I've got to go get that done. So that's
Yeah.
my tomorrow for sure. Um, yeah, I mean today is Thursday, right?
Yeah, today's Thursday,
Okay.
and
All right.
I'm gonna probably be working. It's right now. It's 5 p.m. our time, and I honestly I will probably be working till 10 or 11 o'clock tonight. I've got
Oh
so
yeah,
much client work to do,
I'm
but
with you, man.
it's actually interesting. There's a little parallel that I'm gonna point out. Is that in 2014, my second year at Creative South, I went to Creative South with Folk Slap. I was working full
Oh
time
yeah,
as a
yeah,
branding designer
yeah. I
there.
think we had them as a panel that year.
Yeah, it was
Yeah,
Bill Kenny,
yep.
Eric, and oh God, I think there was one other Alicia. Alicia, I think, was part of
That
it
might have
too.
been her.
Yeah, and I think back to that. That was that will be 10 years, this year, and now I'm actually going to be bringing a team of people with me this year,
How
and
crazy is that?
so full circle. It's like
Full
you go
circle,
there
man.
as part of a team, and now you're bringing a team.
I mean,
It's amazing.
those those stories are my own life.
Hmm.
Peter and I didn't know each other from Adam. I had him come out and be my guest one year, and that's a whole funny story that he has to tell sometime. If you ever have him on the show, make him tell you that story.
Yeah.
But meeting Peter Del Tano for the first time and not knowing him from Adam, and then having us both work together with Rob and freelance and do all this stuff for 10 years ago, and then to go full circle with all the stuff that's happened to all of us over the last 10 years. And now the three of us work at their company that they started. So it's like,
Yeah.
I mean, it's such a blessing to be able to be there at Heyo and like work with two of your best buddies and people you consider family. Like both of those guys are, it's like Uncle Peter and Uncle Rob to my kids. Like that's what they call them. It's so funny, and vice versa. So, it is full circle to go. There's a lot of that happens, and
Yeah.
I challenge people to make those stories for themselves.
Yeah, you generate or not generate, but you create so many memories,
That's
across
fun. The
it and
laughs,
everything.
dude. The laughs.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, just stuff that like watching Jason Craig throw down that game in the lobby. Like I don't even know what they call it, but they're throwing the stuff on the floor, and they're like, I don't know, it like that kind of vibe. Like I can't get out. Like one year, Grow Case. Do you know Amir? He
Yeah.
goes by Grow Case.
Yeah.
He used to be part of Forefathers
Yeah.
group. That cat, it was me and him and Matt Gillespie and I think Fraser Davidson all on this go-kart, like not go-kart,
I
golf
remember
cart that I
that.
had borrowed, right? And like we're zooming back to like get somewhere, go something on like night one. Oh, we had hung out with them, had a few drinks with those two guys because they had both come in, one from the UK and one from, I think he's from Norway
Sweden.
or something like that. Sweden.
Yeah, I think it's Sweden. Yeah.
And so they're both here, and they're like the first two attendees that are here, and they're both people that I love to death and like want to hang out with. So we're me and Matt, I think it was me and Matt, we're having beers with them, and we get on this golf cart to go somewhere else. But I'm John Normers, he's John Normers, Matt's not a tiny guy, Fraser's not a tiny. It's just like, let's put it this way. That golf cart did not stand a chance on the weight limit we had put on it. Man, we hit that corner, popped that tire. Look, dude, we ended up pushing it up this hill, taking the tire off, putting this thing on blocks, and then like getting the tire fixed and putting it back on. So the lady would and we know all the time letting the lady know, like, look, we did this, but it was like at like 12 o'clock at night. Right.
Yeah.
So it was crazy. Like we laughed and laughed and laughed. Like during it, it was like I'm freaking out, but everybody's dying laughing because we just blew this tire out. You know how many times that's happened to me? You seriously, same lady, same golf cart who lets me borrow it every year. And every year that I have actually borrowed it and ridden with more people besides myself, I have blown out one of the tires. It has
my God.
because there's too many people. It ends up being like, hey, can I give you guys a ride? And it's like one person, and then the like whole group jumps on the thing.
Yep.
And you're like, and then you go 10 feet, and it's like, and like, oh my God. All right,
I think
everybody
there
start
was.
walking. I got to figure this out.
Yeah, I think there was one time.
What's
Yeah,
that?
I think there was one time where you were like, "Hey, Rock, I'll give you a quick ride," and I was like, "Mike, really, really?
Yeah,
You know,
100%. You
we're
already
big
know.
guys, you know,
Yeah.
like." And we get on, it didn't pop, but the whole time I'm like looking over the side, and I'm like,
And you
that's
saw
gonna
it.
go. That
It's
could
like,
go at any time."
I feel like we need to invest in one that's like extra duty with the big, the big tires on them.
The six wheels, the six wheel
Yeah,
golf carts.
because
Yep,
those
there
will
you go.
probably do. Because I don't know, it's all some of the pictures from some of those rides though when we used to cart people back and forth to
Yep.
the across the river. People are selfies because they're going through like streets in town. Like it's not like you're on a
Yep.
cart path. You're like in the middle of the road with cars, and I've seen so many good photos from those. So many people just laughing their heads off. Anyway, I digress. It was a lot of fun, but I
Yeah.
have so many stupid memories of like laughing and cutting up and just losing my mind with laughter every year. There's something that just gets me every time.
Yeah, I still remember when Raji King and Justin Mazel, they were doing the
Bro, the freaking dance off. That
they
is
were
like
doing
for the ages. Yeah.
yeah. No, but I remember the first night before the conference started, the first night, I show up at the hotel. I'd just gotten in from flying in from San Diego, and they come in there and they're just like wobbling. They had a little too much fun, and
Hilarious.
we're all sitting there, we're chatting, we're trying to sober them up and everything. And Justin was like, "Does anybody have a pen?" And he wants to start drawing. No one had a pen. Someone gave him a pack of sticky notes, and he took Tabasco sauce and he started drawing with Tabasco sauce.
That's
And there were some things that he was drawing that I'm not going to repeat,
for
but it
sure.
was hilarious just
Oh
like
yeah.
seeing him
Oh
do
yeah.
that and being a part of that and everything. And with this podcast, if you go back to the first episode where I talk about my story, my journey, I mentioned Creative South. I would be shocked if I've not mentioned it in half of the episodes of the podcast.
Well, I
And that's
appreciate that.
because of how prominent it has been in my life and my career.
That's awesome, man. I really appreciate the kind words, dude, and having me here and being able to let me talk about it. And we just want to welcome people, like,
Mm-hmm.
come hang out with us. Come see it for yourself.
Definitely. Hopefully, I did speak in, what was it, 2019, the year before the pandemic. Maybe one year I'll be able to speak again.
Oh yeah, dude. Hey, I think I don't know what the time limit is. We just kind of like we want to try to keep it as fresh, but yeah, it's about to come around where we start having some repeaters. Like I know next year, I tried to get him this year. He couldn't make it, but I'm going to have Alan Peters back next year.
Oh, I think that would be great. When did he speak? That was 2015,
10,
2016?
he spoke 9 years ago.
9 years. Jeez.
9 years ago. But
So that would be
what's funny?
2015.
He spoke 9 years ago. I consider that guy one of my mentors, and he's a dear friend of mine. And I probably talked to him, if not on Instagram, like on the phone, at least once or twice a month. Keep up with what he's got going on in his world, and it's
His book.
Again, a dude. Who are you talking to? Who are you talking to, bro? Who are you talking to?
I know, right? Go check out his book right now. It's on Amazon.
Like if you made a book, I probably have bought it and support you. And my friends' books, I want to make sure I get them all. And like, in fact, I called up. I've got every single issue except for 14 of Logo Lounge.
Oh, really?
And yeah, because I love it's a great resource if you don't know about it and you do branding. But I think I like Bill. I think he's just a cool dude.
He's a character for sure.
He's such a character. But one of my favorite moments from Creative South was he was here one year speaking, and he had either already gone or hadn't gone yet, or it might have been at the very end of his talk. He did a magic trick on the stage of the Springer, and it sticks in my mind as one of those like, what just happened kind of moments, because he did he had a bunch of cards in his hand or whatever. He made somebody pick a card, and he did something else. And then all of a sudden he's like, he throws the card in the air and it sticks to the ceiling of now the Springer is not like 100 foot, like it's up there.
Yeah, it's tall. It's super
to the
tall.
ceiling, and it is that dude's card. Like, it is the card with the cat's name on it. And I'm like, what is going on? It was the craziest thing I've seen. Like, but anyway, I digress. He's a fun guy to chat with, and I like what he's doing over there. So I wanted to get his books, and like I have hit. And I've got the one we just showed for Alan Peters, and obviously Dragon's book, and there's so many other ones that are coming out that I need to get my hands on. If you don't buy design books and you're a designer, you're missing out. You need to get some in your arsenal.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. Like, there is a book you probably knows, you might even have it, but it's there's two parts to it. It's a red and blue book, and it's the red book is modern logos, like from the, I would say, 50s to the 70s or something.
It's about this thick,
super thick, yeah,
big book.
Yeah, and then there's a blue book, which is older logos going back to the 1800s.
I think I have the red one.
Yeah, the blue one is my favorite because of like the whole traditional pieces in it. I feel like those books, they're not like a normal design book. It feels like you have to put archival gloves on in order to go through those, just because of like the quality of it and everything. I love books. In fact, my wife, she constantly is like, you have what's called an anti-library. I have a library of books that I haven't read yet that I will eventually read, or probably will never read, but I love them.
Well, Alan's book's fantastic. Somebody just gave me like the Trademarks and Symbols book, but the original hardbound. I can't remember the name of it's Trademarks and Symbols, and I can't remember who it's by, but it's our first version of that, and it's a fantastic book if you do branding to get in your collection.
Oh, it's the blue book is Logo Beginnings, I believe, and then the red book is Logo Modern. Yeah,
okay. I have the red one.
Yeah,
yeah, man, I'm with you. It's invaluable to have that in your arsenal.
It really is, and it's not like I'll sit down and read and look through them like every single day or every week. Sometimes months go by without looking at them, but it is in those moments when you look at those types of books that it just helps the creative juices flow. It helps you get into that rhythm, into that groove and everything.
There are so many great resources from all over that you can dive into. And I laugh, but at the same time, I'm very serious. Like, Pinterest is a good one.
It 100% is.
Save it. There's so many ones that are out there, but like, yeah, have those little places where you can go find that inspiration.
I think that one of the best resources is Pinterest. People don't even think about it too much when it comes to inspiration, but the fact that, for one, they have all the stuff from Behance on Dribbble on there, and the biggest, most powerful feature with Pinterest is the more like this feature. So you'll have like your board or your subboard, and then you hit that more like this, and it just populates things based on what you've already looked at. And it's amazing.
You can categorize everything, right? So,
exactly.
You've got your badges resource and your hats, and like all my life, like badges, hats, logos, typography, beards, haircuts, cabin stuff, outdoor campfire stuff, survival stuff, like all these different categories of like just things I think are cool. Whiskey labels, like all the stuff. But it's categorized, so like you can sort it and keep it. And like that's why I like it, and I like going there and just seeing like all the cool work. So much cool work.
I wish I would have categorized my illustration board sooner. I have 16,000 pins, I think, or something like that in there.
You got way more than I do. That's awesome.
Yeah, I've been doing it since 2012, 2013, so it's like constantly been adding to it.
Nice.
But yeah, so so let's start bringing things to a close here. Do you want to just talk about, this coming year? We have do you have a countdown of how many days before Creative South?
Oh, it's so few. So few. I need
so
more
few.
time.
It's like it's a few months away. It's really close.
What's today? What's today? The 11th?
Today's the 11th, January 11th, which is coincidentally our wedding anniversary.
Oh, congratulations, dude.
Yeah, thank you. 5 years.
Oh, right on, dude.
Yeah.
Tell your missus I said hello.
Definitely.
Congratulations. To the day, it's 2 months, January, February, 2 or 3 months from now. I don't
Yeah.
know. It's
I think it's 3. It's
it's
April,
3
right?
months
It's
from now. So
April.
it's April the
Yeah.
11th, and today's January the 11th. So exactly that much time.
Yeah.
In between.
We've already gotten our hotel figured out. So we're gonna be staying in the main hotel again, which
Yeah.
I haven't stayed in probably a few years. So I'm excited about that.
Oh, nice. Yeah, they gutted that during COVID. They gutted that entire hotel
Hmm.
and refurbed every single room and redid the lobby a good bit and some other things. It's a lot nicer than it used to be, but in the same amount of time they built there's 6 hotels downtown now. So you
Yeah.
can stay across the river. You can stay in an old mill that has a brand new restaurant in it, which is probably the furthest one away from the venue, but it's nice.
Hmm.
And then there's so many you can stay at, and then there's also like Airbnbs and stuff like that you can stay at. But like if there's every one of the hotels should have a code. I got to update the site tomorrow on some other codes that I had to finally get from like 3 of the
Hmm.
hotels. But the main hotel that's right across the street from the venue has a discount code for us and block rooms if they're not sold out. And yeah,
They may be
uh,
sold out. I think there was
they
like
might
4
be, but
left. Yeah.
I think their numbers are very skewed.
I think they're trying to promote the
I
fact
think
that,
it's like
there's less, but
it's
yeah.
sold out, but it's not
Yeah.
really like we'll see.
Yeah. And for
Try
those
it
of you
first.
who, yeah, for those of you who are wanting to go to Creative South, tickets are on sale now
Yep.
at creativesouth.com.
Yep.
Be sure to book your hotel, soon. Don't wait to the last
Yeah.
minute because they will sell out. It will be a lot harder to find them. The good thing is about the venue. This will be year 2 in the venue, right? Year
Year
2.
2 in the new venue. That's right.
Yeah, there is plenty of parking. That was the one thing that I really loved about it was, if you're not staying at that primary hotel, they have plenty of parking attached to the actual venue.
Yeah.
Versus
And
at
it's
the
also
Springer,
walking distance.
yeah, it's walking distance from everything,
Yeah.
basically. And, especially, I would suggest for those who are looking for a hotel, book downtown. That's your best bet because then you can basically walk to anywhere, any of
Oh, yeah.
the areas from the main venue to the bridge party to all the food places and everything. There's a lot of great places, and you'll be going in and out from all these different locations throughout the entire conference.
And people will be walking with you. You're not going to be walking by
Yeah.
yourself hardly ever. Usually in a big group. But yeah, there's plenty of places to stay, even if you don't get into the downtown Marriott. There's like I said, there's three main hotels on the main drag there, and they're all within walking distance of both ends of the downtown area. So feel free. I will say this too. For those of you that are showing up this year, I got an opportunity to participate in a new, like the largest mural in the city. I got to lead the charge on that and paint on it, and also help make the teams for it and all that. And it's done, and it is a great place to not only take a picture of it, but take a picture on it. And if you can walk across the river and see it as a whole, it's also a cool way to see that as well. So I look forward to everybody being down there, taking a picture and showcasing that mural. But it's
I can't wait to see it.
a lot of growth. You guys will not believe the building they built next to the bridge where we have the bridge party. They put this 9-story tower there that is just insane. They're still finishing, and it should be done by the time everybody gets here, but it's definitely way more than it was last year. And then they built brand new apartments by it too. So there's a lot of growth downtown. A lot of buildings there that didn't used to be there 10 years ago. So anyway, I don't know what else. That's about it.
I think that's about it. Yeah. If you guys have any questions, about Creative South, about, where to try and book, check out the website, check out Creative South's social accounts. It's at Creative South GA, correct?
GA.
Is that
That's right.
GA? And somebody will definitely get back to you and help you out. You can also join. There is, I believe, Slack and Discord, right? Or is it just Discord now?
It's just Slack. I think
Okay.
we did away with Discord because it just got confusing on which platform we were. And there's more people are using Slack now.
Mm-hmm.
More of the folks that were already using Slack are back on Slack, and just that's the easiest way for us to keep the community going. And everybody felt more comfortable there after some trial and error. So yeah, there's if you want to jump in the Slack community and just talk to folks, other designers, get feedback, hear about jobs, talk about recipes. I mean, vent, whatever you want to do, that's all there.
Yeah, and we'll make sure to include that in the show notes, a link to the Slack channel, to the Creative South website, and to where you can buy your tickets and everything. But, I definitely highly recommend it. You guys have basically heard me say that throughout the entire episode. And I can't wait to see everybody there. I can't wait to, go again for the 11th time, or 10th time. Yeah. So I want to thank, Mike, so much for, taking the time and chatting with us for basically an hour and 20 minutes. We're probably going to clip up this episode into two parts.
Man. I'm good either way. I appreciate you having me.
Yeah, definitely. For those of you who are watching the podcast on YouTube, please remember to hit that like button, comment down below if you have any questions for me or for Mike or Creative South in general. If you guys are listening to the podcast, please remember to leave us a review wherever you are listening to the podcast. And we should actually, at the time of everybody listening to it, our website should now be live, thedesignbreak.com. So we finally have a place where you can listen to all the episodes, you can check it out and everything. All right. Again, thank you all so much for tuning in to today's episode, the second part, most likely, of this podcast episode. Please, as always, everybody remember to stay passionate, stay positive, stay creative. That's it for me. That's it for Mike. Talk to you later. Bye.